welcome back to our last episode. Last and final episode. Today yesterday we talked about the 90s. Today we'll be talking about the 2000s and 2020s. Yeah, such a great year and a great decade. Well, kind of great. But, 2020 was, not 2020, but the 2000s at least, was the beginning of a good and bad decade. The bad was 9/11 and many other things from memes of World War III and other various things. And the goods are the internet. Well, we had internet from 1983 to now, which was really good, but involved in many ways of having many different platforms and sites and different such. But let's get back to track. Okay, some more bad things was the internet having adpocalypses, kind of like YouTube. I'm directing this to YouTube, for YouTube. But, adpocalypses was with YouTube, and how advertisers kind of didn't want to be as risky as they were in the 1990s. They wanted to, kind of chill out a bit and not put, for YouTube is platform website. Everyone knows what YouTube is because YouTube is such a recognizable platform. Everyone knows what YouTube is. YouTube gets ads, puts them on videos, makes money for them and the content creators. And you watch said videos, you have to go through the ads. It's boring. For the ads, at least. But, adpocalypses were certain videos, either they were too graphic, or they cursed too much, or they were too kid-friendly now, of starting 2020, too kid-friendly, and so they aren't being targeted by certain ads. You can't be too bad, you can't curse too much, or you can't be too kid-friendly without having to pay a price for it. It's a big deal. But back in 2014 and 2015, and I think it was a little bit of 2016, were adpocalypses of where advertisers didn't want to be as risky with putting their ads on certain content things just in case, so the government, not the government, but the companies won't look bad. It was a really, really big thing that happened that hurt a lot of people's financial pockets. And so, because of that, many people didn't get, their paychecks for that year, and they couldn't support their families, which is pretty sad. But let's get off that sad track, and let's go jump right into the good stuff. So, with, the internet now, and people, having pop-up ads and new things here and there, Google, Amazon, Apple, Snapchat, Instagram, Instasnap, Facebook, many different companies basically were born and grew up on the internet. And because of that, it's easier for those companies, at least, that know how the internet works way better than older companies that are trying to put in their ads on in the new websites and in the internet in general. Since the companies that grew up on the internet and know the internet, it's easier for them, financial-wise, to know what the consumer wants. And with things as an example, as TikTok, in 2019, they had, towards the end of the year, they had a terms and signed agreement saying that no one really reads, but was put in effect January 1st, 2020, that they can look at your search history to give you targeted ads. That's what's been happening to YouTube with content being too kid-friendly and being targeted to kids, and that apparently was breaking a rule, and it was a pretty old rule too that it was breaking, and so no one really saw the harm in it, but content creators are paying the price for it because of, you get a fine for how much, if you make about, let's just say your content is family friendly, but yet it's also aimed for Sorry about that. And we're back. Okay, so I kind of lost thought. Okay, so with like content being on YouTube, a little too kid friendly, then the creators would be fined more money. Like I think it was $42,000 on every single thing of content that they created that was deemed kid friendly or targeted for kids, and there would be no ads on there. That means if you made a channel that was kid friendly and that was targeting kids, then you wouldn't make any money from it. But because, in a sense, advertisers aren't really doing that much, and like they're trying so hard to keep their name clean, then it's basically destroying people's lives. And I don't think that advertisers know this. Like, I understand with because you have millions of people like working in companies and big corporations and workshops and that stuff, but for them to make money, they're kind of destroying other people's lives on YouTube, at least. But enough of that. That's for a totally different rant later. But starting the new decade of 2020, like with TikTok saying that you agree that they can see what you can search up on your history and sending you personal ads, but you can control it. Even YouTube was kind of going through that problem, like I explained earlier. And so then now companies can't target children as much anymore. They can only target them on social media, from what we know of, at least. That includes TikTok. I'm excluding YouTube. I'm excluding YouTube as social media because there's YouTube Kids and everything, and that's just a whole nother mess, and you have to be 13 and up, so you technically are a child, and it's just a big mess right now. But since no one really watches TV anymore, and since we're all living in the age of where we watch TV, well, we don't watch TV, and everything's on our phone, and we watch Netflix, Hulu, YouTube TV, Disney Plus, anything we can get our hands on, really, there's not as much ads anymore. Well, there's not much permanent ads. Back in the 1950s, 1960s, 1990s, early 2000s, those ads that you got weren't skippable. Those ads that you had to sit through and watch as a young kid, like the Gerbil Life program, I remember that so well from sitting down watching Dragon Tales, and every 5 minutes of an ad would be, the Gerbil Life program helps you with blah, 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 blah. That's ingrained in my memory now from a little kid. And because of us now having ads that aren't skippable, like are very, like you can just skip through it so you don't have to hear them anymore, now having that, advertisers are having to be more creative in certain ways to find out what daily consumers want in life. And it's harder for them because they don't really know what you want anymore. Yeah, they can ask certain companies to like use them to get into your search history to see what you look up to target you ads, but if you're just going to skip through the ads, then what's the point of it? There is no point. And so it's harder for companies to make profits off of it. Okay, now let's try connecting the ads and everything and like corporations trying to get money off of people with like terrorist groups and terrorism. That, I couldn't find anything to connect those two together. Same thing with the Vietnam War. There was nothing that would connect them to each other because advertisers didn't want to be risky. They didn't want to go and have to dig through media, at least, and get their hands dirty. For advertisers, it's making you think that this company is safe enough to use every single day. And they don't really want to have to get their hands dirty. That's why most ads don't really get into the dirty, grimy stuff of terrorist attacks and wars that no one supports. The reason why World War II and the First and Second World War worked and happened for advertisers was because people wanted to go into that. They didn't want to go into Vietnam. They didn't want terrorist attacks to happen. But after 9/11 and everyone got together and actually came together as a group, everyone in America came together as a group, then advertisers kind of wanted to be a part of it. They wanted to be a part of the idea. They didn't want to be a part of what actually happened. They wanted to be a part of the idea that happened. They wanted to be like, oh yeah, freedom dogs. Oh yeah, let's celebrate being American. But they didn't really want to go a part of it because they didn't want to get swept away with something so devastating and bad and just get blamed for it. So they left everything to the media like that. Let the media take over. They let the media discuss what happened, kind of like in Vietnam, of where they let the media just take over. They didn't do anything about it. And the media is basically saying, oh, this certain group attacked at this time, this spot. There was 4 other attacks somewhere else. And one of them almost hit the Pentagon. Or something like that. They didn't really cover anything. Unless it was going to benefit them, they weren't a part of it. And the media, it was all over it. They couldn't stop being over it. And every year, 9/11 year, every year, October 9th, media goes wild. While advertisers sit back, watch the media go, and just be like, okay, that's fine. Certain companies have deals off, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing to justify it happening if you look through advertisements. If you just look through the years of advertisements and the years of companies and see how well it did at certain points, then you wouldn't even notice Vietnam and 9/11 or any other terrorist attacks happening. If you look through media, then you see it all over everything. You see every single detail going on. You see anything and everything that the media uses to help themselves. And so that ends our series. I hope you guys have a great day. This is our last and final episode. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.